Hello and welcome to New Filmmakers Los Angeles in partnership with Movie Maker magazine. My name is Danny DeLillo and we're here at the Cambridge Los Angeles show in West Hollywood. I'm here with filmmaker Sarah Gamble with her movie, The Bus Trip. Let's take a look at a clip.
So, where are you from?
I'm from Sweden, from Stockholm.
Oh, you're so dark for Swedish.
Yeah, I know my parents are from Poland, so...
Okay.
My dad never told me why he had to leave Poland with his family and move to Sweden in the early 70s. The reason they moved was because of the Polish anti-Semitic campaigns. It caused my grandmother to lose her job as supervisor of all the national communist preschools in their city.
For those that haven't seen The Bus Trip, tell us a brief synopsis.
Okay, so my film The Bus Trip takes place in Israel and Palestine while I was there to attend a film festival. This was in the spring of 2014, and I traveled around in Israel as well as on the West Bank in Palestine. And my film follows that trip.
Where did the inspiration come for you that you wanted to, document this trip that you went on?
So initially, I didn't plan on doing this film while I went to Israel and Palestine, but I was still a film student at that time, and my teachers told me that I could only go on this trip if I take some photos and write a report when I come back, because I was missing class.
Yeah.
So I came back, I've taken a lot of photos, and I started writing this report, which was, I wrote it as a travel diary. And I kept writing and looking at the photos, and I felt that this was something more that I wanted to do than just do this report. So I handed in the report, and I still felt that I had a lot of feelings and emotions that I wanted to communicate. And that's when I started to do the film.
Wow. I'm glad you did do the film, because it was such a beautiful visual thing to watch. Obviously you're extremely talented, because I love the animation features in there, and then kind of mixing that with live action. How do you go, explain a bit about that process, and how do you go around creating and making that? Because it looked pretty difficult.
Oh yeah, so I'm initially an animator, and I went to film school in the animation program or animation department. And so I only had still photos and some video footage that I took filming outside of a bus window. And I started to look at these photos and started to think of which scenes or things that I remember could take place in the photos that I already have. So I sort of like a documentary, just looked at the footage that I had and tried to put that together into what I wanted to tell. And I also knew that, there was so much going on during this trip, so I needed to narrow it down. And I decided that my film was going to be about two things. One thing was my opinions and feelings about Israel and Palestine and the conflict there. And I also wanted the film to be about my Jewish identity, which is expressed through the relationship with my dad.
It's so powerful when you create something that is so personal to you. It's also self-discovery for you as well, and I think it's so wondrous that you can create something, particularly in a part of the world that's going through so much, and we don't always hear about as much as we need to around the world. And here you are educating us through film and your journey and your perspective. What was that feeling like going to the areas of Israel and Palestine during this time right now? How does it feel? Because we can only empathize with the people and what's going on. How did that feel for you actually being there as a filmmaker as well?
I would say for me it was very confusing, because before I went there I thought of myself that I sort of knew about the situation, because we always see a lot of it in the news and we read about it in the paper. So I sort of felt like I sort of knew what was happening there, but once I was there, I realized that I had no clue about anything. So that was sort of like
It was an eye-opener to kind of discover the real story.
Yes.
Now, you're from the beautiful country of Sweden. We all love Sweden. For you being there, I mean, your experience, and obviously we only get to hear what's on the news unless we're actually there. Did you kind of find that what we hear around the world in our own communities and our own countries is selective, and then when you're there, you sort of see a bigger picture and bigger story? Is that something you experienced?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you know, we as filmmakers, we know we always need to select
Yeah.
to make something comprehensive and,
Right.
you know, narrow things down, even if we want to tell what we consider the truth.
The truth, yeah.
So it's always skewed somehow,
Mhm.
and it's always different from what it is once you're there.
Well, I mean, I love the fact that, you know, you turn something like, okay, you can have this time off of school, but you've got to go make this, and then you make it into something which is absolutely fantastic. What's it then, I mean, literally, what's it then like of like, okay, you must document because you're taking time off, you make this whole film, all of a sudden you're film selected at New Film Gazelle in Los Angeles. How is that feel? What is that feeling like?
Yeah, I feel lucky, I would
Very
say.
talented, yeah.
And yeah, I just, because this is also like my first film, this is my graduation film from film school.
Yeah, I don't quite believe you. I thought you've been doing this for years, but okay.
So it's very overwhelming to be
Uh-huh.
screening it almost all over the world
Yeah.
as of now.
Well, you know, well deserved as well. What is next for you?
So next project is actually the project that I initially wanted to do as my graduation film, which is a sci-fi saga for kids.
Oh, awesome. How
So
cool.
it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But for me, it's still in the same line.
Very, very good. Well, I mean, listen, thank you for sharing something that's so personal to you and taking us into a world that, you know, we need to know and be more, you know, culturally aware and educated about. We really appreciate that, and that you've taken your journey upon it as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing much more. I want to see this. I'm not a kid, but I'll take it. I want to watch this sci-fi. It's very exciting. How do we say goodbye in Swedish?
We say hej då.
Head up. Head up, new filmmakers. We love you. Thank you very much, Sarah. We really appreciate you and your work. We look forward to seeing much more. Thank you.
Thank you.